All righty. What's up, folks? We are live, and we have got a full house today because we are talking about a modern day classic, a revolutionary of the action movie genre. I want to say scene, but I feel like that was too many words in one sentence. So anyways, we'll move on from there. So welcome Gordon and Sarah and my brother Chris, who was up late night with me doing some random trailer reactions. That Black Widow trailer, I'm still pumped about that. So I don't know if everyone saw that. I know Rob's not a fan, but I'm still ready to go for that one. So welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Sidekick Show. We are live every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk all kinds of nonsense. And this week, we happen to be kicking off our John Wick trilogy rewatch-a-thon or whatever we're going to do. So we're doing John Wick Chapter 1. After we just hit a couple quick things before we dive into that. And we've got some fun things planned for it, and hopefully we won't keep you guys too long, and we can have some fun. So for new releases, I didn't really pull much except for, well, that's...
She's just trying to get in on the chat.
Oh, that's okay. So new releases, I kept it light. So big deal book this week is Fortnite #3. So if you guys are going to cover up Gord and a little bit of Rob here. So sorry, Gord's not here at the moment. But yeah, so the brand new Fortnite issue featuring Batman versus Snake Eyes. A lot of fun comes out this Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on shipping issues. So hopefully I'll have it sooner rather than later. And it does come with, every issue comes with a redeemable code for a Fortnite item. I think this week is a Catwoman grappling something or rather ornament or a pickaxe or something. I don't know. We'll look it up later. Yeah. And Butters is here too. Look at that. All right. So we should give him his own camera. And the other thing I just want to quickly mention, we can order a whole bunch of John Wick products. I'm going to flash them up on the screen so you guys can check them out. The John Wick Hot Toys, which is like the pinnacle upper end of these types of things. A little bit hard to get, but we can probably try and obtain one if you're looking. The John Wick graphic novel, which is kind of a prequel to the movie, features John Wick in his younger days. And then we do have on the lower end by Chris's side over there, the regular John Wick action figure. So if you don't want to go quite as crazy and get the John Wick Hot Toys, you can go with the economy John Wick action figure, which does come with a ton of accessories. I really like that case and all his coins and things like that. Yeah, we got the comic book right on Gord's face. No, you can see him right there in between there. He's here. But that was it. We got all kinds of cool stuff, and I can always order things in for you folks. So if you're looking for something, definitely hit me up, and I'll hook you up. So that's it for just new stuff or store related items that I've got for you. Let's kick it to Rob if he's got any news. Something big deal. Something went down, right?
Yeah, but before we get to that, John, hey everybody. I know that John, you are a big fan. You are very excited for Friday because Netflix releases Army of the Dead from Zack Snyder. So I know that you are super stoked for this. If anybody has watched our podcast, the Heroes World main show that came out yesterday, you would know that John, this is his big movie for the summer. An interesting development happened though. So originally it was Chris D'Elia was in the cast, and so they had filmed all these scenes with Chris and Dave Bautista and everything else. And then late last year there was some controversy with respect to some allegations in the media against Chris and sexual harassment issues and whatnot. And so Zack Snyder decided
Chris
yeah, right. So Zack, although this Chris, he sometimes makes googly eyes at me. So Zack Snyder decided that, hey, we need to recast this. But the problem is you've already shot the movie. Like they were like deep into post-production. So what did they do? Well, they hired Tig Notaro and the comedian, and what she did is they actually had her acting just by herself, and they filmed her scenes and would superimpose her in while she was working onto the pre-existing footage and made sure she was walking in the same way. And they would set up all these like props around her. Like so she understood. Stuff, yeah. Right. So she was working within the frame of the picture. So when you are watching the movie this weekend when it comes out on Netflix, because, hey, it's May 2 for you might as well watch something. I think we should all marvel the fact that Tig Notaro was seamlessly inserted into this movie, having worked with nobody on screen. It was all by herself. So I just wanted to say, like, that's a little cool bit of information.
It's crazy. They just photoshopped her in, and they seemingly have erased every trace of Chris D'Elia whatsoever. I couldn't find a single image of him being in this movie on the internet, which is like one of the craziest things I've ever kind of like fathomed. Like
it was as if Sandra Bullock actually her job in the net came to fruition, and she wiped everything out, and there's no more Chris D'Elia on the internet.
Was that the plot?
No, I don't know. And the big news that you were referring to, John, it came out today. So as we know, 3 years ago, Time Warner Media went into a merger deal with AT&T, and just the end of 2020, it was kind of, or I guess it would have been maybe beginning of 2020, it was finally approved in the US. So AT&T was this massive media conglomerate owning Warner Brothers, which, as you know, owns DC Comics. And everybody was wondering, like, what's going to happen? How are they going to treat DC properties? All of a sudden, you started seeing like Dan DiDio was let go. There's all this massive culling of staff out of DC in early 2020. Well, I guess AT&T is like, we're done dealing with Warner Brothers, and so they've literally spun it off. Like, they are shredding it. They're just dumping Warner Brothers entirely and Warner Media, which includes HBO Max, CNN, and so forth. And Discovery Channel. This is the Discovery group of channels in the US. I didn't realize is a huge media company, and it looks like they are now merging and essentially acquiring this portion of Warner. So what this means, I have no idea. I mean, obviously it has to go through regulatory approval, but you could be seeing next summer when sharks attack on Discovery Channel and potentially have an introduction by King Shark as voiced by Sylvester Stallone. So
there you go.
There will be some synergy. And there will be some synergy, but this is kind of crazy. I mean, will it have an effect on DC Comics? Who the hell knows? It's a guessing game at this point. Every year they're for sale, supposedly. So we'll see what happens. But in terms of just switching hands of actual properties, this is a pretty big news that came out today.
Yeah, 3 years ago they bought it for
so
what
huge.
was it, 86 million, and then they sold it today.
Billion.
What was it, 26 billion. Sorry, 20,
Yeah.
and then 26 billion today. Sold it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a lot.
What is that? 50 cents on the dollar. It's not great.
Yeah. So I don't know if your math's correct, but yes.
We're gonna assume so because we don't want to do it right now.
Yeah. So that's all the news I have. Oh, aside from this, John, black licorice.
Oh, gross.
Georgia.
All right.
I was going to bring some.
Yeah, you should use it as a straw to drink your soda or whatever.
Don't think I haven't been doing that all week.
Isn't that what they use when you have a hole in your tire and they need to burn it back in place? Plug the hole
that in there.
Dude, these hands are not like manual labor hands. I have no clue. I just call somebody to fix it.
So you're hella stranded when you're
My hands are very soft. Well moisturized. All right. That's all the news I got, John.
Oh man. All right. What's up, Scott? I thought Scott was working, but I guess he's got it on break. He's not getting any calls in. So what up, Scott? What up, everybody in the chat? So yeah, that's it for the news and rumors and new stuff coming out. So I think we can start diving into some John Wick, since we've had so many people with us here and things like that. So unless anyone has any other things. Let's talk a little bit about the podcast. So the podcast this week featured guest stars Chris and Sarah. I don't know how to point on this damn mirrored thing. I'm just gonna point.
Really awkward for Gordon.
Yeah. So and we talked about
not this one. That one.
Yeah. Anyways, we had a lot of fun kind of predicting our winners and losers of the 2021 summer movies, or I don't even know if we can call it that anymore, but pandemic movies are pandemic movies. So definitely check that out if you haven't checked that out yet. And then me and my brother did two quick trailer reactions the other night. We did the new G.I. Joe Snake Eyes trailer, which looked pretty good, and Black Widow, like I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned at the top of this or not, but Rob, of course, is not a fan, but I'm pretty hyped for that one. So let's go.
I did watch. Congratulations to you and Chris. I sent you the link at like 11:15, and I actually said I'm in bed, dude. Like I was monitoring just for this stupid trailer for you. I sent it to you, and I'm out. I'm gonna watch the
I don't
news.
know what
and go
that
to sleep."
meant. You sent it to me, and then you just said I'm in bed. You never said I'm going to bed or I'm staying in bed. So I actually messaged him back, going, "Are you gonna get up?" And he just never messaged me back. So I was like, "All right, I guess it's too late for people." So I was just like, "All right, Chris happens to be on, and we'll just roll with it." I don't want to like wake people up. This was at like what was that? 12, right at 12, right at midnight. I
Yeah,
don't remember.
11. I think it's 11 something. Yeah.
The witching hour. So you guys did a good job. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of that trailer for Snake Eyes, but I digress. John Wick,
anyways,
everybody.
Yeah. So let's switch to John Wick 2014. Keanu Reeves. I don't know what if you would call it his I don't know.
Resurgence. I would call it a resurgence.
I don't even know if it's a resurgence. He's got so many things going on.
Nah.
So it's just
He
like
never went anywhere.
yeah. It's kind of like he did kind of have a little bit of a dip before this, maybe, I guess. Like
He was just
47
rolling around
in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was looking at it, and he did Matrix Reloaded in 2003, and then he did a bunch of other stuff that didn't really resonate with the mainstream, and then he did John Wick in 2014. So I know, as much as we joke about The Lake House being a great movie, he did that in between. So that's almost like 11 years of, again, math. My math is just so great this podcast, but I think around 11 years of him like not really being in the mainstream. I know he started this dope motorcycle company. You look that up. That's really cool.
Yeah,
if you're interested in that. Yeah. But I don't know. I would call it a resurgence.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Hang on. He also did in that time.
Chris.
He did Constantine.
Okay.
He did The Day the Earth Stood Still, which I mean, it didn't make a whole ton of. He was Klaatu, the alien man. What the heck? Street Kings.
John loves that one. Yeah.
And then 47 Ronin, which is like a really underappreciated samurai movie. It's an amazing movie. You should watch it.
Yeah, I think 47 Ronin is his movie right before John.
And then he did The Man of Tai Chi, which was really bad, I thought, too.
I actually kind of like it. It'll come up later.
That wasn't that bad.
Yeah. It might come up later or not. So yeah.
Okay, so
I feel like Rob saw Knock Knock though.
Who's there? What?
That's the movie I'm thinking about, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking John Wick. That's what
one
people
scene
hear.
of that movie. I think we all saw one scene of that
I feel
movie.
like that's up Rob's alley.
Bad Batch. You guys seen that one? It's a great movie. He plays like a crazy version of himself.
Interesting.
Oh, definitely watch that one.
Okay, but John Wick, John.
Yeah, John
Wick.
Yeah. So John Wick. I think everyone's here to talk John Wick. So let's get to John Wick. So anyways, John Wick came back out in September 19th, 2014 in theaters. Oh, actually, no, sorry. That's at the Fantastic Fest. I don't know how we're supposed to get tickets to Fantastic Fest, but opened in theaters in the USA October 24th. So I don't know what you would call that, like a late, not even summer, fall blockbuster. I don't know, like an indie film. I don't know. I remember hearing about it, and I love Keanu, so I was on board for it. But at that time, I wasn't really a movie theater goer, so I did end up catching it on video. And it cost them only about 20 to 30 million to make, and it made about 86 million in the box office. But I think what's more important is all the stuff that's going to come after. So we'll kind of leave chapter 2 and onwards for our next follow-up shows and stuff like that. So we're going to be talking about John Wick 1. So chapter 1. So I've asked Rob if he can kind of pinpoint exactly why this movie did so well. So I hope he's got something prepared. No, he's blanked.
So I'm just gonna eat this shit all night long because it's great. Okay, so here's the thing: is that
on camera? I feel like
what's that?
you're gonna eat too much. It's gonna like, oh.
Have you not seen any of my YouTube videos?
Yeah,
trust me, it's all eating. Okay, so John Wick. The reason why this thing resonates so well, John, is that I don't really remember what else was kind of coming out around 2014 off the top of my head, but this movie captured people, and it was only in theaters for a very short period of time. This is what was part and parcel. It was a weird lead up to the movie. There wasn't a lot of promotion for it. You saw a trailer, like a teaser for it sometime in the spring. You saw a bit of a trailer later into the fall. Like it was a late trailer. I believe it was like around September, about 3 days before the movie came out. It built a bit of a buzz. It was in Fantastic Fest, as you said. But then it came into the theaters and went out pretty quickly. I think it was only in maybe 3 weeks, 4 at most. But this generated a huge amount of interest of people who had watched it, and then started getting word of mouth once it came out onto video. That's where I had intended to go to see it in theaters. I didn't get there in time, and so I ended up picking it up. For me, it was a blind buy. I didn't care whether to rent it. I went. I think it was to, I don't know if it was Walmart or Best Buy, and I picked it up on the day it was released. And I got home and I watched it, and I loved it. And this movie, they coined the phrase gun fu. It was a new kind of, not a new form of martial arts, but a combination of a bunch of different styles of martial arts. They used, this is one of the earlier movies where they started using computer graphic blood. It was violent. It was very frenetic in its energy, and it was a really basic plot. It was a guy who had a past life as an assassin, or as a fixer, so to speak. He goes through tremendous loss. The only thing that's kind of keeping him tethered to any sense of normalcy is his dog that his wife, who he had just lost, got him this dog, and then wrong place, wrong time, gets involved with a bunch of punks. They kill his dog and he just snaps. And this whole movie is predicated on the fact that he wants revenge, and to essentially he's lashing out. It's like one of the stages of grief. He's lashing out in anger through his particular set of skills, to quote Liam Neeson. So I think it just resonated with people because they watched it and first of all, it was fun as all hell. It was crazy. It was action packed. It was seeing Keanu kind of reprising that role a little bit, like that style from The Matrix, watching him in his fighting form. And it was just a shit ton of fun. And it built a world at which we had no clue that there was going to be a second or a third or a comic book or anything else. It was just this one self-contained movie that was world building in and of itself. And man, 2014 was a good year for this movie. So.
Yeah, I remember, I think Jack Reacher came out either the same year or very close to it. And those two movies, Jack Reacher and John Wick, are basically like throwbacks or love letters to like the 90s movies that we've been kind of talking about and watching. So I want to quickly go around and see who's experienced what here. So I'll go this way. So I'll hit my brother first. I don't remember how you saw this. I'm pretty sure you heard me hyping it up, but I don't think we ever we definitely didn't get to theaters to see it. So I don't know if you watched it on home video or.
We're always big Keanu fans, for Matrix days, things like that. Obviously, you have the whole month dedicated to him. You're a huge fan. I think the trailer got released, and it was one of those things we all share with each other, and we're like, yo, check this out, man. We got to watch this when it comes out. It looks kind of low budget, but it looks really good, like revenge flick. Keanu Reeves is back kind of thing. And then we would watch it. And to me, what set this movie apart is the action, right? Like the way they choreograph these gung fu scenes, I think set it apart, and it kind of just set like this really high bar. And I feel bad for action movies that kind of came out the same year afterwards. I remember actually watching that Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson right after this one. And putting the whitewashing thing aside, I was like, this movie looks beautiful, like everything about it, like the settings and then the graphics. And then when it got to the action sequence, I think that first action sequence where she goes inside, whatever. Anyways, and I was just like, oh, this is like several notches way below what John Wick was, and it kind of ruined that movie for me because it was just such. I
think it wasn't as visceral. Yeah. It's a nice scene. I think it's the one where she falls off the top of the building. Taken straight out of the anime, goes invisible, and they have all these like robot quiches and stuff like that. So it was a cool scene, but yeah, definitely if you compare anything to even that first John Wick scene where they storm his apartment or something like that, like it's like wow. It's been a while since I see it, so I was very impressed. So Gordon, I know you have seen it probably before. I think this was Sarah's first time watching it. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, okay. So let's hear from Gordon first, and then we'll get it from new eyes.
So I've always been a huge Keanu Reeves fan. I saw it in the theaters. I saw it alone because I didn't have any friends at the time. That's
the best experience.
Yeah,
you don't got to talk to anybody. You're just like, I'm just gonna enjoy this, get my popcorn.
I just wanted to see him kill some people in like close range, hand-to-hand combat. The thing that impressed me the most was how real a lot of it is. Like you hear about it after, but if you're actually watching him, and you can find this all on the internet, but like you do bullet counts, the times he does gun checks, like everything about what he's doing is real. And that was sort of what I had kind of heard about before I went in to go see it, how much he'd been training for this, who he'd been training with. And that influenced my decision on why I needed to see it. I've seen this movie a whole bunch of times. I absolutely love this movie. I think it changed cinema. We'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. But like everybody said, it set a bar so much higher than the standard at the time that every movie since then has now had to try and compete.
Yeah,
comparable to John Wick. And
100%.
unfortunately, because of the amount of work that Keanu Reeves puts into his roles, nobody's been able to touch it. And for that, like, he's awesome. It's amazing. It's
yeah,
awesome.
we're definitely going to talk about Keanu, but I think he was doing like 8-hour days just practicing jujitsu, judo, and the gunplay, like you said, like the gunplay he has different stances when he's close or far and things like that. These are all things that like we were aware of in martial arts. Yeah, but now we've seen the whole gun element unpacked and stuff like that. So Sarah, I know you had trouble. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
He learned a lot of that during the Matrix, but he was learning how to do it on wires. And after the Matrix, the reason why I remember seeing an interview at one point about it, the reason why he stayed away from it was because he wanted it to be more realistic. So when John Wick came up, he actually wanted to take the time to make it real, make it as real as possible. And they found the right group and they did it. So
yeah. So I think the director is his stunt double from Matrix or something like that. So Sarah, I know your first time watching it, it was a little rough for you to get through the puppy scene. I suspect you maybe didn't even watch it, pulled a RoboCop or whatever. But that scene is rough. When I was on the rewatch, I actually had to stop it right before it happened, and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. So what do you think of John Wick?
Yeah, so the whole reason I didn't watch it the first time is because you hear about the dog scene and I'm like, nope, pass, I'm not doing it. I've been tricked before watching I Am Legend and that dog scene like killed me. So yeah, I'm not big into any movies where animals die. So I did not watch the dog death scene. I still closed my eyes and my ears so I didn't have to hear it. Well, we'll get into it later on, but it was an amazing movie and I really, really enjoyed it. And I think Gord probably, his friends probably chose not to see it with him because when he watches John Wick, he comments on every single detail that goes on, like how John Wick moves his watch to this side when he's working and like he has to pause the movie and tell me all this where I just want to watch the damn movie.
It's cool. You got to appreciate it though.
Monday nights are now becoming marriage counseling nights, everybody.
You have to know, like a true like military operator or whatever wears this watch the opposite direction. So it's a very cool subtle detail that I think Keanu, I want to attribute it to Keanu that wanted to make as part of this film and really respect to the guys that operate at the level that he's kind of selling this character at. So overall, we're all pretty. I don't think anyone's really going to have any criticisms of this movie. So I think we're going to dive into. Let's start playing some games, and then after that, we'll see how much more we have to cover for it. So the first game I proposed was who got it, Licorice Man over there. Who died the worst? So we watched the movie. I think if anyone actually knows the number, I think there's like 70 or 80 people that get killed by John Wick's hand. I don't know who else in addition to that is through the movie. And we're not going to talk about the puppy at all. We're talking about which character dies the worst in this movie, and hopefully we can pick a winner. So I'll let everyone kind of go around and nominate something and things like that. So Rob, do you want to go first, or you want to leave it to our guests first?
I'll be a gracious host. The guests can go first.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go. Let's go.
Sarah on the spot.
Let's go. Let's put Sarah first then. So Sarah can go first, and then we'll go Gordon, Chris, and then Rob and me will clean up if there's anything left. So Rob, Sarah.
Wow.
Not Rob.
If you call her
Sarah,
Scott,
who I didn't call anyone Scott yet. So Sarah, who do you think got it the worst in this movie that you noticed?
Okay, here's the thing. So I wasn't sure how you wanted to define worst. So I'm just going to go by the way.
You can define it whatever way you want. Worst as in most brutal death, or just like most ironic death, or whatever you want to say.
Worst meaning, I guess, the stupidest death I thought was Harry getting killed by Perkins. He had one job, and that was and he was handcuffed. Like it was a, what do they call it? A catch and release or whatever. And it was a simple thing he had to do. And he's supposed to be an assassin, I guess. I mean, we don't know much about him. And then she breaks her thumb, gets out of the handcuffs, and pillow gone. Like, I just thought that was the worst death because it just seemed like.
I wasn't 100% sure he was dead. I thought maybe it was a bulletproof pillow, but yeah, he looks pretty dead. Yeah, it was a dumb way to die.
It
like
was kind of a giveaway that he was dead. But yeah, I
okay,
thought that
so
was
Sarah,
the most pointless kind of worst death.
yeah. Okay, so her criteria is that guy died in a dumb way. So that's Sarah's nomination. Gord, what do you got?
2, Vigo, the way he dies at the end, because he had so many chances. But I get it, like that's an impossible situation. You know, your kid messed up. You can't not protect your kid, but to get stabbed in the neck here in the rain and just sort of left there and I
thought it was a classy way for him to go out. He was like,
he was fitting.
He got a final word in, you know. He's sitting upright.
But still, man, wet. You know that's coming. Like you've known the whole time. Like he smoked a joint, singing to himself in front of a fireplace because he knew he was dead. That's like watching a train moving really slowly coming at you and not being able to get out of the way. But the other scene, the guy who's bent over in the kitchen and gets his head just smashed down.
There's a guy whose head gets bent backwards, and I think he actually gets shot as well, or he gets like flipped onto the table and his head basically gets smashed off his neck. Okay, sweetie. Okay, go ahead. Go. Sorry.
I got to give John Wick credit. He at least puts one in almost everybody's head to just make sure that he might shoot you 2 times in the body and then 1 in the head. It's
double tap.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Chris Ho, what do you got?
My pick was actually that one when the guy gets flipped over on the counter and then he wasn't down. But I'll say another one. When he first enters the bathhouse, there's a guy kind of just chilling, you know, on the radio, and John Wick grabs him and then stabs him in the chin, and then really heavy eye contact until he dies. It's like stares him down like this as he goes down and follows him down.
It's almost intimate.
Yeah. It's like he wants to see, I guess, the light go out in his eyes, kind of thing. And I thought that was particularly brutal. I have some honorable mentions too, but I'll let you guys go around and see.
Let's go around, and I see a bunch of stuff in the comments as well too. So we'll hit those guys. Rob, do you have one that you want to nominate?
So I'm actually going to go a bit different on this one because I agree with all of everybody's picks. I mean, the close fighting scenes. But I'm going to tell you the one that made me feel like the dirtiest was that poor guy, Gregory, who was just on the couch, hanging out with his friend. He was playing
video games.
I think it was Halo he was playing.
He's got his headset on. And John Wick from like 300 yards away takes a sniper rifle and it goes right through the ears, and you see the sparks and the pieces of the ear. I mean, that guy did nothing. He literally did nothing the entire movie. He hung out with he was a mooch. He hung out with his friends. He was getting all the women, getting all the drinks and the money. He did nothing. He didn't even lift a finger he pulled a gun once and he dropped it. He was just playing video games and he got taken out. And I was like, man, I play video games. This is why I play in the basement, because I'm not near any windows. So I wouldn't want anybody taking me out by accident. So
there's a window right behind you, man.
I don't play games in here. I don't play games in here.
Okay.
Yeah, but Rob, if you're gonna go out, isn't that a good way to go out, playing video games?
No, because what if he actually doesn't get killed? The bullet doesn't go all the way through, but it gets lodged in your ears. Now you're stuck. You got this headset stuck into your head, and now if you're like Van Gogh, forget it. That guy
he could have just been playing video games at home. He shouldn't have even been there. That guy is kind of an idiot because he's just friends with that guy. John Wick is not after this guy's friends. So that guy's kind of dumb for dying that way too.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out in like the heavily guarded safe house where your buddy is getting like about who's the son of the crime boss running the city about to get murdered. And you're just like,
keep me company.
Hey, this wasn't what is the smartest character in the movie. It was who got killed the worst, and that upset me.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump into the comments and see if I have anything else left for you guys. So Scott mentions the throat, the guy in the club, he gets punched in the throat.
That was on my list.
And John Wick is out of bullets. So he actually has to stop, reload the clip, and then shoot the guy. So the guy's basically sitting there choking choking to death and waiting for the gun to get reloaded and get shot in the face. I think Jesse mentions the point blank in the face while staring in the guy's eyes. Yeah, I think that was a knife scene that Chris was mentioning. I did notice this guy, the guy with the beard. He grabs the guy's beard and pulls him down and shoots him in the head.
The guy with the hipster beard gets pulled down.
Yeah.
Head on table.
And then,
in the head,
yeah, I think there's another mention of the knife. Yeah, in the apartment scene, I think there's a guy with a knife, and John Wick basically just stands on the knife and kind of like slowly stabs the guy, and then proceeds to stab him repeatedly. So yeah, I think in his apartment were two of the most brutal death scenes. I'm trying to see what else was there in here.
Gritty.
And then Jimmy comes by and he's like, "Hey, John, you working tonight?" "No, Jimmy, just taking care of a couple things." "All right, night, John." "Night, Jimmy."
He's like, yeah. Okay, so I'll throw out two last mentions, and we'll see if we have anything else left, and maybe we'll see if we'll try and figure out who won. Okay, Veronica, here you go. So first nomination is there's a guy that he hits with a car, and he rolls over the top of the car, and John Wick,
to the roof.
such a smooth guy, shoots him as he rolls over the roof. I'm like, I don't know if that's a bad death. I feel like that's actually a pretty classy way to go. It's like I couldn't do anything. The guy hit me with the car. I thought I was good, and then he shot me through his own roof. So maybe that's off the table. And then the other one is there's a guy that the character, I think his name's Avi. And he's kind of like the sniveling second in command. I'm not quite sure what exactly his job was, but I don't know if you guys remember how he died. He gets the gun from Vigo. Yeah. So he gets the gun from Vigo. He goes to shoot John Wick. John Wick pops him, I think, in the leg or something, and he's like sitting there keeling over. John Wick drifts into him, and his head goes into the window. And it seems like, okay, he gets knocked out, and John Wick's going to leave him alone. And then Vigo punches into John's car, and the guy gets run over sideways. So I feel like getting run over by a car sideways might be the worst one. So
played by Dean Winters, the State Farm guy, by the way.
Yeah.
He has a really funny scene when Vigo's punching his son, and you can tell he's kind of like a sniveling guy. He doesn't have the stomach for this. He's like, "All right, should I go? Like, you're beating the shit out of your son. Should I just go?" And the guy's like, "No, you stay." And he's like, "I'm gonna go."
See, I always thought Adam was his lawyer.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, maybe he's a business partner or something, because he definitely did not. He's like, does anyone got a gun? Does anyone got a gun or something? And you're like, why is this guy running around with no gun? Why is he even here as well? But yeah, these guys are foolish. So does anyone have a winner? Do we think it's maybe the guy on the kitchen table? I feel like
I think so. That's my pick. So
yeah.
Well, I don't. Yeah, sure, whatever. They were all great. There was not one bad kill scene, right? There wasn't one where you're like, nah, that was cheesy. They were all really good, so I don't care. Whatever one.
No, you had
okay.
The Joseph?
Alfie.
Which one?
Alfie. The
Oh yeah, the son. Yeah, he got it kind of easy.
Yeah, he got it easy.
I stopped the movie because I was like, this is the most unsatisfying death, because at one point when he's in the nightclub, you're thinking he didn't have a clear shot, but it looked like John Wick had a clear shot at him and kind of let him go. So I thought, ooh, okay, he wants to do something more. And then when he just shot him like that, I'm like, oh, I was really hoping for a little bit more there, like even maybe an intimate eye scene while he
He didn't even get that close.
In all fairness, John Wick understood that guy was a eunuch in Game of Thrones, so decided maybe I'm just going to shoot him. He lost his manhood. I'm just going to shoot him.
Yeah.
When John Wick came out, did you guys all have the same sort of adverse reaction to seeing that kid on screen because of what happened to him in Game of Thrones?
Yes. I was like, oh man.
I still find it hard to look at him back then, like that. Talk about a role nearly ruining one of your careers. Like,
yeah,
he did such a good job in Game of Thrones, but God, I can never look at him the same way.
His character, Theon Greyjoy, and who was his name in Game of Thrones, and he was very sniveling, kind of cowardly character. His arc finally came to fruition at the end of the show, but that was way before that even happened. I think that was probably around the time he was portraying the Starks and things like that.
Yep, it was. Yeah.
I think they purposely cast him because of that reason.
My honorable mention for a murder would be the giant guy who like came out of the
the bodybuilder.
and was like, I'm going to crush you. John Wick for a second looked nervous, and then 3 shots. The guy's just he's floating in the hot tub.
2 to the body, 1 to the head.
I think someone else. Someone else mentioned him. Yeah, you're like, oh man, this guy's how's John Wick gonna be this
huge?
No problem. No problem. He's taken out in a second. All right, so cool. So that was our fun with like who got it the worst. I think that guy on the kitchen table, I feel like he was the one that died from like the most blunt trauma. Everyone else basically got 2 to the head. And it was night. So yeah. You got after. Who knows the state of him after your head gets knocked off a kitchen table. So let's jump to our next game, and then we'll see if there's anything else left to cover, so we can keep things rolling. Unless anything we missed there, Rob. Anything you want to cover before we move on?
No, we can move on. I'm still eating my licorice. I'm going to do it the entire show.
You weirdo, man, and your freaking black licorice. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do next is we're gonna have some fun with the assassins or operators or hitmen and women that we saw in this movie, and we're gonna rank them on a tier list. So I come from the fighting game world, and a lot of the fighting games end up players make these tier lists, and the idea is we're gonna decide which characters are kind of like the strongest, even if they lost to a certain somebody in the movie. I think everybody lost to John Wick in this movie, but we're gonna kind of like determine on the skills that we saw presented on the screen, and as we go through the rest of the movies, we'll start adding characters, and hopefully this will be fun. So I'm gonna pop that up on the screen now. So let me see if I can full screen this. All right, so let's add this to the stream. Hopefully you guys can see it. Can everyone see this? So this is our tier maker. So S tier is, generally at the top, and then D tier are these kind of like characters that are not good. It might not necessarily mean they're bad at what they do. They might be a specialist in a certain area. Like we'll mention Willem Dafoe. Maybe he's only good at range and not good at anything close combat. So maybe he's not, going to be as good at defeating other characters. So I'm just going to take John Wick first. So there's a bunch of characters on here. We'll have some fun talking about them, and hopefully we'll talk about how they were in the movie. So John Wick, of course, I think, are we putting him at the top? Is there any objections to putting John Wick at the top of our tier list?
No.
There should be a further up tier, double S.
Yeah. Double S? SS?
There should be like a 3-step gap between him and anyone else, I think. Anyways, I'm just messing around. No, it's fine.
So anyways, so John Wick would be our most powerful character, and we'll kind of briefly just talk about John Wick as an overall character. He's like Baba Yaga was his nickname, or was his nickname not really the Baba Yaga, because he's the one that you send after to kill the Baba Yaga, right? Is the understanding. Like his skill set, like how did these guys just not turn and run upon hearing his name? And how did this guy's son not know who this guy was? So as far as skill set and things like that, maybe I'll kick it to Gord first, because he seems the most versed in this. You already talked a little bit about Keanu, so maybe let me let you talk a little bit more about Keanu and how he was presented in this movie.
He's definitely S class. I think there's only one other person on that list that I might put as S class. But maybe he's SS class, like the car he was driving. That's all I got.
Yes. All right. Anyone else got thoughts on John Wick that they want to mention now before we move on to another character? No. All right. So it's pretty easily. He seems to be the most skilled out of, at least in this first movie. I actually will. I'll segue into adding a character who I think is probably like of equal or maybe very close skill, and it's this guy here. Yeah.
Nailed it.
I think his name was Krill. Yeah, and this guy we've seen around. He was in I think he was in Mr. Nobody. He was in Bloodsport 2 and every Bloodsport after that, I think. So he's been around the block for a while. I think he fought Morpheus on top of the truck in one of the Matrix movies and stuff like that. So he's been all over the place. He's very skilled, and one of the things that I thought was really great with him when John Wick burns all of Vigo's money, and they're fighting, they're gunfighting in the parking lot. He goes and gets the car and basically blows up John Wick's cover. He smashes the car that John Wick's hiding behind. Everyone else is trying to shoot him, and he's hiding behind the car. And they're these armored cars and things like that. So what are your thoughts on this guy? Let's go with Rob first. What do you think of this character here?
You guys right?
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. All right, Chris O.
This guy was definitely John Hamm's stunt double in something. I'm just saying. I don't think I don't know that for sure, but I'm
What
guessing
would John Hamm
100%.
need a stunt double in?
True.
Yeah, he is like the a specimen.
Have you
but
seen
I mean, like,
Mad Men? There's a lot of sex scenes,
Okay.
Johnny. Couldn't handle it all.
Yes, you
yeah,
can.
definitely. The first time you see him at the nightclub starting to fight John, you know right away, okay, this is a boss fight. Like you
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, definitely. He does fight him. He does get the best of him in the nightclub, hits him with the car, and then ultimately falls to him in the battle in that, I guess, that church or something, whatever that was, whatever that room was. But
Yes,
he's
there's like a
definitely
church under construction.
yeah, he's definitely above everyone else. He gets the better of him twice, it seems. So yeah, I would say I would put him there.
All right, so Sarah, are you happy with this character here, or do you think he should be like? Do you think he was a formidable opponent for John Wick?
Yeah, I think he should actually be in the S, like just under John Wick, like not as good as John Wick, obviously,
Yeah.
but up there definitely. Like Chris said, he did the most damage to John Wick, I think, in the movie, and
He like throws him off the balcony in the
yeah,
club.
he threw him off the balcony, and he even the other fight scene when John Wick was handcuffed or whatever it was. He is really good at he's good at shooting. He's good at close range fights. So yeah, I think he's up there.
Yeah. They basically get into the ground game tussle, which can be, depending on your skill, can be anyone's game. What do you think, Gord? Would you keep him up here? Would you bump him down a bit?
No, he's right. That's right where he's supposed to be.
Yeah. I feel like he just barely lost that fight at the end, and John Wick came out with the win. So yeah, he was incredibly skilled.
He did have advantage to argue against this. He did have advantages in every fight. Like the first time he met John Wick, did just kill like 20 guys before he ran into him. His hands were tied in another fight, and then he was busy shooting a machine gun in the other fight and killing a bunch of other people. So he's definitely below John Wick. I would argue to put him at A, but yeah,
but maybe he's smarter. I was like, I wonder if John Wick could have rolled in with a bunch of like goons so that he could have guys to kill back. But I think that would be a completely different movie if John Wick had an army of assassins rolling with him. So let's leave him here.
Anyways, it's fine there. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Sarah's favorite guy, Harry. So this guy in the hotel, like Sarah says, just gets really, I feel like, really easily duped. But maybe his level of operator, maybe he had a specific job in this. So I think he's going to go down at the very bottom for now. I don't know. You guys want to jump in with any input? Rob, do you have anything?
Well, first of all, you guys got to give respect to who this person is. This is Clark Peters from The Wire.
Yep.
Right?
One of two guys from The Wire in this.
That's right.
This movie,
Did you say so what? Cut her feed.
She said what? She said what?
But this is the character, not.
So, also, this guy
Police
was
work.
rocking suspenders for his socks. Do you understand how retro cool that is? That being said, if I was to hire him as an assassin, I would be worried that his hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. because he's pretty old and tired looking. So I agree. I think he's at the bottom. He did nothing but got hosed. He literally was the old person in the hotel who made a complaint for the noise. He called
You think it
down
was him?
during the Jeopardy Wheel of Fortune hour and said, "There's some shit happening on my floor. I'm tired and want to go to bed." The bellman rang up. It was like, he goes, "We have a complaint of noise. You know where it came from." It was this guy. So as much as I love you, Clark Peters, you're down the bottom.
So I think everyone's pretty much in agreement. He's at the bottom for now, and then we're going to dive into some of these other characters that are kind of thrown on for fun. So let me throw another kind of like lower tier guy, and let me see. Gord, what do you think of this guy here, Avi? Do you think he's like the bottom of the bottoms here? Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, I thought maybe he was head of security, but what you say makes hella more sense, that he's some type of business or lawyer partner who's there to just deal with the numbers, and just for some reason decides not to leave. I guess when you're in one of these criminal organizations, you don't leave unless you're Kevin Nash and you figure out a way to get out of here unscathed. I was going to put him on here, but he didn't do any fighting or anything like that. It was really cool to see him in that cameo.
He survived.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess he could be on the list based on the sole fact alone that he managed to get out of this alive.
I guess he was friends with John, maybe. Does he appear in the other ones? I don't think so. He's just good friends with him.
Well, Harry beats Abby because at least Harry owned a gun.
Yes.
Yeah. He didn't have to ask people for a gun or whatever. Yeah. All right, cool. All right.
Do
So
I know you?
let's yeah.
He does get a good shot on John in the car, and then he stops to look at the gun and smile like he's done something amazing. And then
he's like, yeah, look at me, I shot a gun.
Shot back. Yeah, it's really weird. He's like, all right, I shot your car a bit, and you can let me go now, right? No.
Dumbest move ever. He should have just left, or he should have went straight to the helicopter and took off. Okay, so let's throw Viggo on here. So this guy, I guess he's a little bit older, so maybe he was something of a badass before, and he does go toe to toe with John Wick, and I feel like he gets some really good hits in. So what do you think of Viggo here, Sarah?
I'll talk about though his emotional intelligence, because when he had a chance to talk to John Wick, when he called him and John picked up the phone and listened. He started off by kind of going with, okay, our paths crossed, but then didn't apologize. He went into saying something and that's why John Wick just hung up on him, because he wasn't really being apologetic or anything. So you know what? That was not smart on his part.
Yeah. All right. Any where do you think we should put this guy? Rob or Gord? You guys got an idea? Should he stay here, B, or should he be down here?
You're on mute, Rob.
Every time you mention his name, Viggo, I always think of Ghostbusters 2. So I'm having a really tough time not picturing this guy coming out of a painting. But I would probably put him at B level, because at the end of the day, he was the head of the Russian mob in New York. And he said, even though John Wick helped build the foundation by killing all the impossible tasks, which built the foundation upon which we are standing on, he was still the head of the Russian mob of New York. So he's got to be a solid B on that.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave him here for now, and we'll bring in Jesse. Makes a good point. Did Viggo kill anyone? I think he technically kills Marcus, John Wick's ally, right?
Shoots him a bunch of times on the ground.
Yeah.
Also,
So,
I did find it funny though, that scene when when his son comes up and he takes his jacket off, and this is maybe just poor editing, and he rolls his sleeve up, and then he like punches his kid once, and then you see him doing up his sleeve again and putting his jacket on. I was like, wait, what happened to the beating that was supposed to take place?
I think his son says another stupid thing, and then he's like, okay. All right, here we go again. Yeah, it's like, all right, fine. You want another one? Or are you going to give you one? Yeah. All right. He does, like Viggo does, like you said, does kind of go toe to toe with John at the end. So I think you got to give him respect for that. And he does get a hit on him that seemingly, I guess he already had the stitches and maybe just popped them. But
yeah, John Wick had gone through 70 something other dudes.
Yeah.
and then Viggo gets a couple of shots on him. So maybe it's not as impressive as I was thinking initially. But what do we think of Marcus? He looked like he knew what he was doing, and he does go out with on his own terms, as he says, go out with a bang. So Gord, what do you think of Marcus?
The one thing they do very well in this movie is show your skill level, but sort of whether you're practice or not, right? So when John comes back, he's very messy. And as he goes through the film, his skills get sharper. And they show Viggo, and towards the end, I mean, you see that he can go hand to hand, but it's sloppy. And the only time you see him going hand to hand, he's going against his son. And he's like, he's not at that level. He's not practiced. For Willem Dafoe, you know that he must have been doing really well, because the house that he's living in and the stuff that he got is killer. Like, he must have been badass in his day. Now, granted, he's badass from range, which in its own right is, its own thing. He may not be able to run into a room and kill every single person there, but I'd at least give him the respect of an A. He seems to be at that level. Like, he every one of his shots was impeccable. He was able, even looking through a scope, to know that Perkins was coming into the room. And he decided in that moment to protect his friend. Like, and still, even when he was totally outgunned in his death scene, he goes out on his own terms and takes some people out before, with no weapons, no nothing. Like, Yeah,
He gets a bunch of good. He racks up a couple kills for Team John Wick.
Yep.
Yeah, saves John Wick from killing like I think at least 2 guys. So I think you're right. I would put definitely Marcus up there. He said like obviously we didn't see his entire skill set. Maybe if they do some prequels or something like that, we'll see a de-aged William Dafoe in the mix. So I'm gonna.
But in all fairness, though, have you a de-aged Willem Dafoe just looks like Willem Dafoe? Like if you've seen Platoon. He's just the same.
Or Speed 2, just to tie this all together.
Oh Jesus,
he was in Speed 2.
That's right. Yeah, he just looks the same. So
his face gets wider as he gets older. That feels like that's the only thing.
Okay, I'm gonna kick it to Sarah to give us an idea of where Perkins should go. So obviously very skilled. What are your initial thoughts, Sarah? Do you think she's up here with the big boys?
No.
No? Down here maybe? Like here.
A. Yeah, an A.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I thought she was pretty good. Chris Ho, I don't know if you have any insight on I think she's some type of judo or something like that because she takes her jacket and bites it almost like kind of like some type of gi move. I don't know if you seen this in the MMA.
Yeah, it seems like that. No, they don't wear gis in MMA, but I think she preemptively puts the jacket in her mouth and then uses it to choke John Wick. I think there's a lot of stuff like that in this movie, like in the final fight with I forget his name, but the final like the boss guy on S tier there, he uses a bag too to kind of choke as well. So I wouldn't call it a specific technique. I guess just survival instincts.
It was
It was dipped in candy.
Yeah, she wanted some
made out of black licorice.
Right. It was like a giant fruit roll up that she was wearing, and she was like, "I'm going to kill you and get my sugar fix."
Yeah. So in the encounter, she does lose to John Wick pretty straight up. So I would put her a tier below. She didn't really show much other than that. So
yeah, but you know what? I think though that her against this other guy that we put up on here next to John Wick, I would love to see those two go because she was pretty badass, man. Like I actually, I wouldn't want. I mean, she terrifies me in a good and bad way. And I think she could take on this other guy that we put up here on next to John Wick.
Yeah. So maybe like here, bottom the S, or maybe
I really think since we have an empty C tier, I really think out of respect to John Wick, he should be on his own tier. I think.
Yeah. So if I move everyone down, if we move everyone down, something along these lines, and we're not quite sure where these two lies because they didn't get to go toe to toe. I will say one of my only criticisms of the movie is, and we won't go too much into it. Because maybe some of you guys haven't seen number 2 or 3. The price or the payment that she's going to get for going after John Wick does not seem like it was worth it.
$4 million, right?
Yeah. I don't know what her
breaking
rate
the rules
was,
of the Continental.
It was double her rate. Yeah, we won't get into specifics, but I feel like that's the only criticism I have of this first movie after you see the 2 and 3 that maybe wasn't quite there. But yeah, like I said, she obviously would she have been in a similar weight class as Keanu Reeves? Probably not, right? But she does give him a hell of a run for his money. He's got to really shut her down, and it takes some effort on his part. Although he is all stitched up and things.
I was gonna say he was just injured, like badly.
Yeah. I just for the record, I think Harry doesn't deserve to be on a D. I think he's got to be on the C because at least even though he's old, it showed that he survived as an assassin. He can't be on the same level as Ari. Ari was a sniveling so I'm now happy with how you've put this.
I'm okay with this. Yeah, I like this.
I think Perkins is a snake, and I don't think she deserves to be on A. I think she was
okay.
I think she was opportunistic. I think every time you look at what she did, like John Wick was going to sleep in his hotel room in a safe space, and if anybody broke the rules of the continent, like, nope.
Yeah, but I would argue that almost every hired assassin or mercenary is opportunistic.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you got to plant those things ahead of time.
What about Grosse Point Blank? when he snuck into the guy's room and he was sleeping and he dropped the stuff down the rope into the guy's mouth of poison and killed him.
That's really specific for a movie that not a lot of us are going to remember off the top of our head.
You're lost.
Although I do vaguely remember that
Yeah.
scene. Okay, so I think we're happy with this tier list for now, and we'll see as it changes as we get to chapter 2.
I want to see
and
Martin
3.
Blank in the John Wick movies now, from Gross Point
Yeah.
Blank. I want to see. I want to see him in this
in the League of Assassins.
That's right.
Okay, so that's our tier list now. For you guys listening on the audio, it is John Wick at the top, followed by I think the guy's name was Krill or whatever like that. Krill, followed by Perkins, and then and then Marcus, and then Vigo, Harry, and then at the very bottom, Avi, who I just threw on for fun. And there's a ton of other characters that I could have just thrown on for fun, but I think we're going to see a bit more of them in the other movies, so I didn't want to get them into the mix quite yet. So let's kick it and talk if we missed anything, like, because we've talked a little bit about everything. So do you guys have a favorite particular scene? It can be an action sequence, it can be a non-action sequence. So let's go around. Let's let Rob kick it off, and then we'll go to Chris, Gordon, and Sarah can and wrap it up.
My favorite scene? Oh man.
Pick one.
You know what? I'm gonna say the entire sequence in like the bathhouse. That from front to back, there's a lot of single shot uses in that, a lot of choreography. That for me overall was just I just really enjoyed that whole entire scene. The whole entire work was just great. And we mentioned before Kevin Nash as the doorman. Keith Jardine, the MMA fighter, he was an appearance. He was in there as well. So there was a lot of people in this, and that whole entire scene. Like I said, there was multiple edits, but you could tell that there was a lot of single shots that were done in choreography. So just perfect for me.
Yeah. All right, Chris Ho, what was your favorite scene or arc or whatever?
For me, it's the first when those guys, when Vigo hires those poor souls to come and storm John Wick's house, except he is ready this time. So, and I think more of it's because of the impact of it. Because, this movie, you're watching it for the first time. You're kind of like, okay, they're setting up the dog thing. We really hate these guys. We want John Wick. We know John Wick is going to send these guys to the land of wind and ghost, but we don't know how he's going to do it, right? So he shows up. These guys show up, and the first sequence of guys that he kills, I think it's like 6 shots to kill 4 guys. He does the headshots, and at that point in the movie, you realize this is a different kind of. This movie is going to hit differently. It's going to be epic how this movie rolls out, and that just those actions, the judo throws combined with the headshots, like Gord said previously. Everyone gets a headshot in that house.
Headshot for you. Headshot for you.
I don't think the kitchen guy, or maybe the kitchen counter guy didn't get one, or did he not? But everyone got a headshot. So yeah, I just like that scene because of the impact and how it sets up everything.
Yeah, well, the movie opens, and I think it's like him crashed in the SUV. So I'm like wondering if they cut that out and they opened with like the funeral for his wife and all that kind of stuff, and you sold it as some type of romantic movie or something, and then all of a sudden this turn of events happens and it turns into like this crazy movie. I think that would have been like hilarious. So Gord, what do you got as your favorite part of the movie?
Nope, I'm going to you. I'm throwing to her first.
Oh, you're gonna throw it to Sarah first? Okay, so Sarah, you can choose first.
Well, it's actually the same as Chris, because for exactly the reason he said. It was the first time I watched the movie, and so it was. I don't normally like gun scenes. Like, I usually prefer martial arts and that sort of thing. But the way they combine, the way he takes them out with the guns, but also with the holds and the throws, it was almost like a dance. Honestly, like it was perfectly choreographed. And then at the end, he's like, reservation for 12. And it was just like, whoa, like it just set me up for the whole movie. And I was in when that happened. But I think the funniest scene I liked was when Vigo called Aurelio and, you hit my son. Why? He's like, because it was John Wick. He's like, oh.
He just, oh, and that's it. That's the conversation. He just
So,
yeah. What a great appearance, John Leguizamo. Like what a cool ass character. So hopefully we see more of him for you. For those of you who only watching chapter 1. So shout outs in the comments. Scott mentions the club scene. I actually really do like the club scene. And I do like the music. I don't know if anyone wants to talk about the music a little bit, but I've heard the music criticized that it wasn't that great, but I actually kind of liked all these tracks. You got a Marilyn Manson track in there. I think the dance track is a Cascadia or something. I don't remember what the group was, but the one is like Think, and then it's like doom doom, and then he's like killing people to a beat almost. It's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot. Fraser mentioned also the nightclub dance scene, so that one's a favorite one we didn't mention. Jonathan Yo does mention John Leguizamo's appearance, which was awesome. That chop shop was what a sight to behold. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that later. The bathhouse. There's too many scenes. Like the whole movie, front to back.
Hey, John, did you recognize? So when John, Sarah mentioned it when he said, dinner for 12, and the cleanup crew came. Did you recognize who the guy in the bowler hat was? The bowler hat. He's the leader, the main guy. No, yeah, the guy who came and he was, he's like, "Oh, Mr. Wick's good to see you again." He was the head, the older white guy, the head of the cleanup crew.
Takes the money, yeah.
Yeah, did you know who that was? That was Firebird from The Crow. Remember? Oh, fired it up. No, not that guy, the other guy. Yeah, he goes, "You're really dead, man. You're really dead." The guy who was put into the T-bird and launched off. Into I think he starts chanting "Fire it up" right before the car takes off. So shout outs to The Crow. You guys should definitely watch it. I don't know if Sarah's watched it yet.
It's really real world.
You might have to skip a little bit of the beat. That's right.
yeah. There's no coming back in the real world, man. So that'll lead into my my other quick question. Who was the kind of like the auxiliary character that really just kind of like popped in and out? So John Leguizamo, I guess, would be on the table. Rob mentioned Jimmy the cop. So did you guys have like a character that you just saw in the background that you really liked? Rob, let's let you go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, listen, I'm a big fan of The Wire. I like seeing Lance Reddick, even putting on that weird accent, but I'm going to give it to my boy, Ian McShane. All right. Al Swearingen from Deadwood. As soon as he comes in and he's like, you're like, man, this guy's one bad mother effer. And I was just like, I love seeing him. This whole cast, like a lot of these guys, I think, did it on scale as favors. Like there's a lot of people, even Bridget Moynahan as John Wick's wife. So this whole cast, just everything just fired on all cylinders. But seeing Ian McShane show up, I loved it.
Yeah. Chris, is it Kevin Nash, or do you have another character in mind?
I think, unfortunately, it has to be the puppy. This sets the emotional tone for the movie. Like you don't.
Yeah. That's a hell of a cute puppy.
You don't kill dogs in cinema. It's not something you do. It makes people really angry, and like that. It sets up this whole like rage you have for these guys, these idiots that come in and take his car and unfortunately kill his dog. But before that, he has about a day with the dog, and that dog is mega adorable. Like you cannot
and they're getting along. You can watch a show of just him and the dog kind of doing things.
It's so manipulative, like emotionally. It's like so transparent too. It's like oh damn it, they're gonna do it. It has to be done, but yeah.
So confession is that I actually watched this movie with my son. And we were on the couch of the night and we had our dog next to us and I know this movie and yet I didn't think about the repercussions of it. And as I'm watching it, all of a sudden I hear like sniffling. I was like, what the hell's that? I look over and he's like tears. And I was like, oh, no.
You're going to put your son on blast?
Oh no.
No one's going to give him trouble because that was a heartbreaking scene.
And he was like, I don't like seeing people hurt dogs. And I was like, well, then just you wait. So yeah, bad parenting. I really question all the things that I do. I gotta tell you.
So next week, Rob's gonna show his son RoboCop and look over at him after Murphy gets put through the ringer. So
all the Saw movies, yeah.
Gord, who was your favorite kind of auxiliary side character?
First time I saw the movie in the beginning, it was definitely John Leguizamo. I thought that cameo was so good. But this last time watching it, it was Nash. Like just knowing how big he is and like everything about Nash and sort of seeing him just the way he's like, yep, I'm gonna take the night off. All right, see you later, and just walks away. Like it's so awesome.
Yeah. I think if you look on the IMDb, one of the trivia things is when John Wick holds up the gun to him and is like, "Oh, you lost a bunch of weight," and he's like, "How much?" And then Kevin Nash is like, 60 pounds or 60 kilograms. It's code for like there's 60 hostiles inside the club or something, and then that's why he lets Kevin Nash.
I didn't realize.
So, yeah, that's what people say on the trivia or whatever. But Sarah, who you liking as like kind of auxiliary character?
I do love Ian McShane, but I guess my secondary would be the character, I guess, Sharon, or the guy that is the concierge at the hotel. I think his customer service was impeccable. He places his car, calls to make sure the noise is down. Like he's just, I don't know, he's just really good customer service, and I enjoy his good, just very good.
Yeah, the dry. He's like, "How good is your dry cleaning?"
Yeah, he's like, "Not that's good."
Get a new shirt, bro. Come on.
No, he only brought one. When he brings it that leather, I don't know what you call it with your suit in it. It only had like one shirt, one pants, bulletproof vest, and then like
a bag.
A bunch of guns. No, I think it's got a special name.
It's a garment.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
John Wick's suit bag.
Get out of here. I'm actually gonna shout out when the cleaning crew comes, they've got this guy. He's like a giant dude, and his job is to squeegee the windows. I love that guy.
Everyone looks like Big Pun.
Yeah, he looks like Big Pun. Yeah, he walks up and you just get a good shot of his face, and he just squeegees. I think it's the blood off the window. And then when they show up next time, you just see this guy holding this squeegee on a stick, and this giant crew, and he's like the tallest out of all of them. It's freaking awesome. I don't know who that actor is, but he definitely killed it. I think that's it for our main things. I'm just gonna throw out one more thing, and then if you guys want to bring anything else up. So John Wick starts off with his Mustang, trademark Mustang. Gord can help me out on this one. I think it's a 69 or a 70. Boss
69, he says it at the gas station.
Yeah. And then after the Mustang is gone, he gets, in my opinion, a cooler car. He gets the Chevelle SS. So I'm curious as to which car do you guys like the most, not being, I guess, car people or whatever. And there is also a secret option when John Leguizamo and Keanu Reeves are sipping tequila together. There's a car that they're drinking the tequila off of. I'll let you choose that if you can actually remember what car that was. Let's go to Rob. What do you like? No, different car.
Wasn't that
who cares? The car that
which car do you like better? Which car looks cooler to you?
The car that the guy for the Continental gave him.
You like the new Charger. You like the brand.
Yeah, I thought it was because he probably had Bluetooth and it's easier to listen to music that way.
So you want conveniences in cars like Bluetooth, automatic transmission. You probably want air conditioning. You probably want disc brakes and things like that. So Rob wants a modern car. Chris, which car do you think was cooler?
The first one. I like that one.
Yeah, the Mustang.
I think that was classic too. Like it was vintage of 69, right? Obviously, but that one cool. That was cool.
Yeah. Let me kick it to Sarah before Gord jumps in.
I guess the SUV that got the baseball bat through the windshield. I enjoy it.
I think that was a Lexus.
I had a car sick, so I like being higher up. So.
No, my wife loves that too. I'm like, why do you want the SUV? She's like, I want to be able to look down at other people's cars. I'm like, that's fine. All right, Gord. So what do you choose?
It's hard to say that the 69 Boss Mustang would not be my favorite car, but there is a quick scene where there's a GT40 in John Wick's shop, and it's the original. That thing would be by far like my pick. Which car are they drinking on? I want to say it's a GTX. But
it's a Charger. It's a Charger.
Okay.
It's like a black on black, Dominic Toretto 69 or early 70s Charger. Right? Yeah. With the big, you can tell from the big grill. But yeah. So you choose the Mustang, or
I stick with the Mustang.
I love the Chevelle. It's a dark green color. Yeah, it's an iconic car. The Mustang. It's Steve McQueen's Bullet into Gone in 60 Seconds, Eleanor. Into now John Wick's Mustang, so you can't go wrong. The Mustang is an iconic car, so I definitely
we do
don't
get
blame
that.
Anyone.
We do get that dedicated scene of him drifting at that what was that parking lot or airport?
In the airport.
Yeah. So
I was gonna ask, is the dog in the car at that time?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, let's go.
That's a good dog, man.
Yeah, but I said it to my son. I was like, what do you think is going on with the dog? Like, I wanted to see a scene of the dog sliding this way and that way across the seats, man, during that scene, because that was just nuts.
Taking the perfect emoji poop somewhere on the seats while he's
exactly.
nearly going to drive himself into a snowplow. Oh, New Jersey drivers.
Yeah, wait, why was there snowplows on the tarmac considering
Because
that it was like in the summer
in Jersey?
Yeah,
Where
but
do
it
you
was like
think plows
summertime.
go? I grew up in New Jersey. I'm sorry. I do apologize for that sometimes.
This guy's
Maybe it's for, like,
young. I mean, his
enormous
Jersey
amounts of
accent. What's
gravel.
going on here?
Right.
This guy thinks it's Sopranos, for God's sakes.
Yeah, so Fraser also chooses the Mustang.
Yeah.
And
I am not a Ford guy either, by the way. Just gonna throw that one out there.
yeah, I don't. I just love that Chevelle. It actually.
No votes for the SUV.
No, sorry. A bunch. Someone else voted for the
moms in the chat.
the newer Charger as well.
Somebody
so people
voted
like
for the
modern
bus.
conveniences. Yeah.
Oh, the bus. Yes, the bus he takes.
There,
to-
yeah,
to
Jonathan.
Leguizamo.
Yeah, he
Yes.
voted for the bus.
That's a good choice.
Okay, so that's enough. Thanks for indulging me in my nonsense. A quick thing before we wrap it up. Since we talked a little bit about other Keanu movies and things like that, is there anything you guys recommend? Because I'm sure some of you are going to fly through John Wick 1, 2, 3. Is there anything that we should be watching up? So Sarah is recommending Knock Knock.
I'm really not.
What is?
But I just feel like Rob might like it.
Yeah, no, Rob, you might like it.
All right. So does anyone have any recommendations they want to throw out if someone watched John Wick and they want to watch something either with Keanu or just kind of the similar feel or flavor? Rob, you got anything?
We've talked about this in the past in recent episodes, John, where we talk about these revenge type thriller movies, right? And so you mentioned Jack Reacher, which is not necessarily a revenge, but it's got this old school action feel from like a 90s of practical effects. I'd recommend the first John Wick movie, Jack Reacher movie, but I would also say the Equalizer movies. I would also say the Denzel Washington Equalizer movies. Or even Man on Fire. I think of those, like, you can't really go wrong. So if you are a big fan, of this genre, this revenge genre, even though people would say, what about Taken? I'd probably go with better fare with the Equalizer movies or Man on Fire.
Okay, Chris, you got anything you would recommend?
I'm actually going to use my time for something else. I did some research.
I was
watching this movie, and I was like, oh, his guns look really cool. Like, I want to know if there's something special about these guns. So I looked, of course, something like this exists, which is the Internet Movie Database of guns. It tells you about all the guns everyone uses. It's like
IMDGB or Internet Firearm Database or something. Yeah.
So John Wick's pistol of choice is the Heckler & Koch P30L. And it has a custom stabilizer on it. That's, I guess, why it looks so long. I thought it was like going to be like a Magnum or something like that. His backup gun in the bathhouse is a Glock 26, fairly standard issue. The assault rifle he pulls out in the church apparently is a Kohari Arms CA415 with a hollow sight, and that thing was pretty cool. And then the shotgun, which I really liked, the one where he's standing on the car and he shotguns the driver, and he goes like, cool it. That shotgun is a Caltech KSG shotgun. It's a 12 gauge pump action shotgun. So I just wanted to not let my research go to waste and say that.
All right. So you recommend people look at Internet Firearm Database.
If you think guns are cool, there's a database for it.
But you might want to use your incognito tabs in the event that certain government agencies.
Especially if you're in Canada, use incognito.
Yeah,
just
you can
add
actually go to
YouTube
already
and exploits.
You can go to YouTube and where Keanu trained. A lot they show off a lot of the guns that he used, and including that custom the pistol with the whatever thing on it. Yeah. So they have a lot of fun with that. So yeah, they definitely did look very impressive. So Gord, do you have anything you want to recommend?
I was actually going to ask Chris I was going to say everybody's favorite gun. I knew that wouldn't fly with anybody. I figured know your audience, but I'm glad you brought that up because I think that HK is sick, and the Terran Tactical handgun that he uses is even better. If you go through the next couple of movies, just keep an eye on it because it is definitely worth talking about. Guns. Sorry.
Having grown up in New Jersey, now it makes a lot of sense.
Can civilians go to Terran Tactical?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about Mustangs now. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
We're drifting in the parking lot.
Okay, we'll come back if Gordon has anything else.
Watch out.
Sarah, do you in fact recommend Knock Knock?
Sorry, I don't actually recommend it. It's a terrible movie, but I don't know.
It had its moment.
It has moments for
a moment
for the boys. So yeah,
a couple good scenes.
Okay, I'll jump to the comments. Some people in the comments had some recommendations. So Lewis actually mentions Man of Tai Chi, which we mentioned earlier at the top of the program, which is fun because before you say anything, Gord, but it's fun because Keanu actually plays a bad guy in this. So if you want to see a little something different from Keanu, and I think he does, I don't know if he directs it or produces it. I think he maybe does both. And it does star, I think, Tiger Chan or something like that. He was one of the guys from The Matrix as well. It is a really cool movie to watch. I think they could have done a little something different with Keanu later on in the movie, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. I don't know if Gordon, you had 2 cents on that one, or
no? I think Man of Tai Chi was awesome, actually.
Yeah, okay, so you like it, yeah.
Like that was it was a slow burn. It was a good build up. I think he did a good job, whatever his role was in either producing or directing that movie.
Yeah.
SpongeBob movie.
Yeah. Lewis also mentions so Keanu like went on a tear during this whole John Wick thing. So yeah, he's in the SpongeBob movie.
Toy Story 4.
Yep.
Duke Boom, or whatever his name is. Yeah.
To go back to the revenge movies or the sort of breaking down, I definitely think the Equalizer franchise is up there. I would say start with Falling Down, Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Phenomenal movie. Yeah. And then
I
hate to say that, but Unhinged, that actually wasn't bad with Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, interesting.
The fat Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Hard to watch.
Oh, that movie?
Yeah.
He got big. So Jonathan Yo recommends Equilibrium if you want to see some kind of kung fu action. They did some really interesting stuff in there. Yeah, Gun Kata, Boondock Saints.
It was not greatly executed, but it was a great concept.
My Lord for thee.
Yeah, and then I think Lewis Law. I guess he's saying John Wick 2, but that's obvious choice. I will shout out. We mentioned it earlier in the program. Keanu Reeves in Street Kings. One of actually my favorite movies. I think it would probably be in my top 10. Keanu Reeves plays like kind of like a renegade cop who kind of bends the rules to make things happen. But it's got everybody in it. It's got Keanu in it. It's got Terry Crews in it. It's got Hugh Laurie in it. It's got Chris Evans in it. It's got Common in it. Like all these different all these big names. And it's a really good. I think it's a really good performance by Keanu as well, who kind of is not playing his typical good guy hero. He's a little bit kind of like damaged and things like that. So definitely a fun movie. Definitely check it out. And I think is anything else? Anyone else had anything that we might have missed? No.
47 Ronin.
47 Ronin. Yeah. If you want to see Keanu's project right before this, underappreciated 47 Ronin. I think it's on Crave still, Rob, or did it leave?
Yeah, but it's ending in the next week or so. So if you're gonna watch it on Crave, go grab it now.
And in case you haven't seen The Matrix, like if you've been living under a rock your entire life and you have no idea what.
Must have at least seen The Matrix.
Well, you know what, though? Don't worry, because I'm sure we're going to be doing a Matrix Revisited because Matrix 4 comes out in October or November. So I'm sure
Keanu's next project.
I'm sure John and I will be doing a Matrix Revisited. So Sarah, you can look forward to that.
Or even if you just YouTube Keanu's cameo in Always Be My Maybe.
Yes.
Really.
Yep.
Yeah, what a great little cameo, and I actually quite like that movie. Randall Park and Ali Wong, a lot of fun. Although it is kind of funny to see them try and de-age Randall Park by just giving him a hat and other funny things like that. It's a very like Hallmark movie trick where they just put a hat on someone and mess up their hair a little bit, and you're a younger version of you. Anyways, thank you everyone for chilling us with us so long. Thank you for rewatching John Wick 1 with us. Rob, I think you've got some video content dropping tomorrow.
I do. First of all, I ate the entire bag.
You animal.
So if I don't make it onto the next show, it's probably because
how many grams of licorice is that? Does it say how many grams?
Yeah, it's 375 grams, but I ate half the bag, so it's whatever.
Your toilet's going to be whatever the opposite of bleached is tomorrow.
Hard to tell the difference in the color.
Yes. So yeah, John. So thanks. Hey, the 905 on YouTube. Actually, I just uploaded the video, so it'll be dropping tomorrow. New episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're actually going to be talking about Is it your time? Is it the time to sell your collection? The market is stupid hot right now for a lot of these collectibles. And so I kind of, even though I'm not an expert by any means, and in fact, I make sure people understand I'm an idiot throughout the entire episode, but I do offer 5
you're
tips.
an expert.
I do offer 5 tips on what to think about, because these are things that I think about when I'm looking at selling my collection, because the prices are just skyrocketing right now. So yeah, definitely check that out. You follow me on YouTube. That'd be great if you subscribe, and then I don't know, maybe we'll do some giveaways as we get up to higher numbers. So
Yeah. So definitely give Rob some subs.
I'll give licorice away.
Yeah. Maybe he'll give a bunch of. Yeah, you can keep it. I think Gordon might want some, and you can send some to Scott.
I was going to unsubscribe and resubscribe to try and get into that.
I'm going to send Sarah a big, massive tub of Tiger Tail ice cream.
She's going to throw it into your head.
COVID can't touch me. All right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she'll be able to catch up to you if your plan is to run away.
Well,
if you're going to drive away, that's a different story.
Anybody could catch up to me by running. Let me just tell you, I don't feel good. Okay.
Starting to see the beads of sweat. Like,
licorice sweat.
Rob's getting the licorice sweats now.
Oh, it tastes good though. I gotta
say. The licorice sweats are coming. All right, so before the licorice sweats get out of hand, thank you everyone again for watching the Heroes World podcast. New episodes every Sunday, and the Sidekick Show, obviously, if you're watching here every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And make sure you are subscribed to our channel as well, so when we drop random trailer reactions and other kind of fun stuff, I think Andre is planning to do a Bad Batch roundup this Friday, so keep an eye out for that. And I think that's all we got for you. So thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you, Sarah and Gordon, for joining us. Thank you, Chris O, for jumping in, and thank you again, Rob, for setting this up. I think we're good until next time, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Cheers. All right. See ya.